Hello and welcome to the Mythologue, a D&D live stream where our cast of lore makers whips you up a fresh batch of lore every single Monday night. In Dungeons & Dragons, the GM, Game Master, narrates a story and the players create the action by existing and making decisions as their characters in the story. When the fates must have their say, there is always the dice. Welcome to the Mythologue episode 3. Thank you all for joining us. My thanks are going out today very much to the Patreon patrons, my own and the Mythologue's brand new fresh baby Patreon. If you'd like to support the stream, you can check us out and subscribe at any level, $3 plus to get access to patron-only content, including character interviews, access to character journals, perhaps little one-shots, possibly alternate GM days. There's going to be some fun stuff that we're up to. So as we grow and evolve, so will our interaction with all of you, our fans and patrons. So patreon.com/themythologue, all one word. And thanks as always from the bottom of my heart to our Mythologue cast, my darling friends. Epiphany, hi. Finnick, Kian, Wexlarn, Flame, and Feely. It's great to see you all. So I think without further ado, we should get rolling. When last we were together, our adventurers had made their way away from the place where they'd been just out and out attacked by pixies. The Feywild seems to be a dangerous, a fickle place. Looks pretty, lots of sparkles, many fascinating objects. However, everything seems to have some sort of a danger, a cost, or possibly a proprietor associated with it. The mushroom that Kian sampled both had an interesting impact on his mental state, as well as causing some disruption amongst the local citizens. Pixies indeed did descend and attack, and were ultimately easily dispatched by our cast of adventurers. However, in urgency not to have that happen again, they were gathering up to go and possibly, checking out if a few other things might need to be sampled and brought along. There were some amazing crystals next to the water that seemed to have fascinating images inside and the fractures and facets within. And so in the process of collecting one of those beautiful green crystals, our friend Wexlarn may have dropped one in the water, where it may have had some kind of a bubbling, sizzling reaction that filled the immediate air with smoke, and eventually a giant beetle came upon our group and was aggressive at first until Kian cast friends and really made good buddies with the beetle. So having healed up your new giant beetle friend, many times larger than any of you, it became clear that it really was time to beat feet. So you all traveled through the Fey landscape for a time, quite shimmery, sparkly, golden lit twilight all around. And even though night never fell, it eventually did become exhausting to continue to travel. And so your group made camp. While making camp, Finnick and Feely took the first watch, and Feely spent some time with Astara, attempting to begin teaching her the cantrip of light. It turns out that Astara has some very powerful magic, but she has a hard time controlling it. And so while attempting to learn this cantrip, she kind of had a little burst of magical energy, and instead of creating light, she created a shower of butterflies and flower petals. But she tried. She did mention that that tends to happen when she tries to use her magic. It kind of goes a little bit haywire, and sometimes it can be pretty bad. So she has a little bit of anxiety about that she communicated to you, Feely, while you guys were working together. But eventually she got really tired, and Finnick and Feely's watch was over uneventfully. And it's now time to wake up Wexlarn and Kian for second watch.
Yeah, Finnick will go ahead and go over to Wex. Hey, buddy. Second watch. Have fun.
Oh, God. Already? Jesus. Okay.
And Feely will go over. Feely will go poke at Kian until he wakes up. And he says, it's your turn. Can you be sure to watch the little one? He's been causing a lot of trouble.
I noticed that might be an issue. I'll keep an eye on just about everything I can. Thanks for the heads up.
Great.
Thank you. All right, Wexlarn, I guess it's you and me.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Got any big plans?
I've got a few ideas. Or at least curiosities.
They're fun to ponder upon, but do be careful you don't do anything too crazy while our friends are asleep, you know?
What does crazy entail in your realm?
I guess I should have been more clear with my wording. You know, just don't blow anything up, you know?
I mean, that's never really the goal. It is an occasional byproduct.
And just like dust off a log to sit on, or what, like something to sit on and kind of look around.
I mean, it's quite a nice landscape. It's beautiful. There are, large stones here and there. There are many trees with large fruits and big, beautiful, luscious foliage. It always just feels like about, 6 or 7 o'clock on a summer's evening. It's warm. It's everything is lit in gold, and the stones are perfect for sitting. There's also logs for sitting. Since y'all left the creek, there's no water nearby per se, but everything seems quite lush, and there's some humidity to the air.
Okay. Yeah, I would sit on a stone just because I don't want to get my armor wet. Logs tend to do that. So, but yeah, I don't think Kian is super interested in continuing to entertain Wexlarn's schemes, but he's definitely keeping one eye on him.
I'll go sit next to you and just start unpacking the ridiculous amount of stuff that I have crammed into my backpack and the various belts and pouches that are strapped to myself and my persons. And I want to basically I'm hoping to create a little tinker object and see if I can use the crystal to power it, or a little piece of the crystal I found to power the tinker object.
Okay, so you're going to make one of your little clockwork devices?
Yeah, basically.
And what shape is it going to take?
This is going to be just a little miniature palm-sized dragon.
Okay.
It just kind of walks around.
All right, cute little clockwork dragon coming right up, Wex. Roll with your tinker's tools. See what you got.
Would I use dexterity?
Yep.
Wisdom? I'm not sure where to go. Intelligence?
I think for just your clockwork thing, use your dexterity. Use whichever one is highest, because this is a trick you've known for a long time. You pretty much know how to make these little clockwork toys, you know,
I'm gonna go with my intelligence then.
you grew up doing these. Well, good thing you went with your highest stat there.
Yeah, that was
that
wildly
9,
unhelpful.
that 9 is not making you a very cute dragon. You've created a little kind of a, with all, you know, most of your stuff was on your cart. I mean, with what you've got in your backpack, you are only able to create something that kind of looks like a, you know, like a Lincoln Log dragon, right? It's like a clump of things that are sort of chunked together. It really doesn't look like a dragon at all. But you have 2 things that you could point at and call wings, and you have 4 things that you could point at and call talons, and there's 1 thing sticking out that you could point at and say it's the tail, you know. And it does move around, and it's good enough to, it like has a clockwork mechana to it, and so it's enough to be able to tell if the crystal works to power a thing. So how are you going to go about trying to hook it together?
I'm hoping that there is like a little fragment or a piece that's loose that I could just like break off or use my tinker tools to like kind of like pry off a little bit and kind of like build it, you know, like within the machine.
When you pull that, I'm gonna be like, don't get that wet again. You promise?
Oh, absolutely. I would never get it wet again. Though I am curious what happens with heat.
Maybe. Is that something you're planning on testing now, or can you wait until the morning?
Oh yeah, we can try it with breakfast.
But right now, though, what you're going to do is you're going to break off a piece, like using a pair of pliers or something like that, or a little chisel.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Like just
Okay.
a little like sliver basically that would like be able to like fit into a little clockwork device.
All right, you score it with a file. You take a little chisel and hammer. Go ahead and roll just a straight dexterity check.
Oh, marginally better. 10.
10. Okay. You're able to break some off. There's an acrid smell when you do, and I'll have you roll a perception check.
Was that you?
Oh, 17. Nice.
I may have evil giggled out loud. I'm sorry.
I had a +0. I wasn't expecting to do well, but 17.
Okay, with your 17 of perception, you can see that when you break this crystal, something inside of it changes. Looking into it, it's not showing you the fascinating pictures anymore. It's gone a little bit darker, and the fractures through it just look like fractures now. The crystal doesn't look as clear. So the small little piece that you've broken off, you...
I already don't like the looks of this. Anyway, I'll continue. I'm still going to do it.
Okay, so you attempt to attach it into your clockwork dragon. With your 9, you know, you're able to get it lodged in there and sort of connected to what would normally be a winding device. But it's a little bit hard to tell how it would go about powering the device. You set it down and it doesn't really do anything by itself. Not this time. Okay.
I think you broke it. Can I see it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure it was ever not broken in the first place, though. Here you go.
I'm like, I've never seen anything like this before, but I'm like, I'm totally gonna figure out what this is. And like, I might like pull on one of the legs or the tail or something, just like, I don't know, I want to see what it does.
Okay. Yeah, give it your choice. investigation or just dexterity?
Sometimes the combinations you give me scare me about what's about to happen, but
None of these are saving throws.
yeah.
I'd like to see an investigation saving throw situation,
Oh my
though. That would be cool.
Okay, with
That seems legit.
dexterity, I got a 17.
Okay. You pluck at it a little bit, and you know, sort of move the legs around the way that they would move if the clockwork was working. You kind of get it, and you see how it should work, or at least you know how it would go if it was powered by something. At one point, as you're moving the gears around, there is a little bit of a spark that happens, but it's a bit hard to tell whether the spark is between just the gears themselves or the gear and the crystal. Wexlarn, since this is your field, if you want to just roll a quick intelligence check for me.
Is it supposed to do that?
Oh man, let's get rid of that dice. 11.
9, 10, 11. Maybe next time will be 12.
Yeah, eventually we'll be critting.
Right. By the end of the session, you'll be rolling like last time. God, you guys, I just rewatched episode 2. I cannot believe the way y'all were rolling during that episode. It was insane. It was 22, 23, 24, 18. Like, what? Level onesies, little babies. Wait, ones? Are you ones or twos? Ones.
One.
That's
I'd take it too.
what? You think you get to level up in this game? Anyway, Wex, with your 11, taking a look at this, those look like pretty normal sparks. You can't rule out that the crystal had something to do with it. You kind of hope that the crystal had something to do with it, but you've seen those kind of sparks enough times when you were messing stuff up that didn't go right with clockwork that chances are it was probably just the gears sparking against each other. It doesn't seem so far like y'all have managed to if the crystal has any power in it of some kind to power something, it doesn't seem like you've harnessed it.
Just for the record, I've never actually tried this before, so I don't really know if it works. It was just kind of an experiment. I thought I was hoping maybe, if it has enough power to create a giant beetle, like it should power this little dragon, right?
Oh, I'm not sure that the beetle came from the thing. I thought it just got angry by the thing, but maybe I didn't ask it. So, yeah, we can keep trying, but maybe small steps, and don't break all those crystals because I think it got less shiny.
Yeah, it did. It definitely changed.
Yeah. And Kian's gonna be like, I'll be back, and just like take a little 5-minute lap around, 100 feet from the camp, make sure nothing's around, and then come back, and hopefully Wex hasn't blown anything up in the meantime.
All right, you're going to do a little patrol. I'll have you roll perception or investigation, your choice.
Okay. Let's try perceiving.
All right.
14.
With that 14 of perception, you are seeing a lot of plants and creatures that you're not familiar with. It's really fun to be in such a foreign environment.
Mhm.
You see fluffy little caterpillars. You see fat bees that are striped pink and orange. You see that the flowers are, instead of pollen, they seem to have just sparkles that kind of exude from them. Looking closely at one of the flowers, you kind of get right up near it, trying to see what the sparkles are coming out of, and suddenly right at the center of the flower, right in that little middle part, just an eye opens. Boink. Looks straight at you. Blinks once. Nothing else happens, but there's an eye inside the flower. You look around at the other flowers in that particular part, and several of them open eyes at you, and then close them again. It's a little disconcerting, certainly, but they don't do anything else. You notice a few more of those carnivorous plants as well, but most of the stuff is like not really disturbing. You see beautiful butterflies that have long, flowing, ruffling wings and stuff that are floating through the air, seeming to defy gravity, with as if they were like these big sort of papery kites, almost like butterflies made out of poppy petals or something. They're really, really cool. But you don't see anything that you perceive as a threat on your patrol. Just a lot of really interesting stuff. Wex, what are you doing while Kian is gone?
I am like disassembling and reassembling slightly differently. Like I really am hoping that this like works somehow. This is like my 2 hours. Like maybe occasionally I'll get up and walk around, but like this is pretty much just like what I'm doing with my time.
Okay. I will have you. Did Brian freeze on us?
That, or he's just real still.
Brian, you look real cute like that. Okay, well, we'll wait for him to get back. He is going to be disassembling and rebuilding his little dragon creature, so we'll have him roll again for that. Maybe we'll shoot him a quick message and see if he can just roll it home.
My Google Assistant just randomly started playing a station.
Okay.
Brian left and Google came in.
All right. Wexline, are you back with us?
That was weird. Sorry. I think
No, that's
so.
okay. So I think we had you roll with the Tinker's tools. Yep, roll with the Tinker's tools using intelligence to try again on the dragon.
21.
Okay, this time, taking it apart, putting it back together, it doesn't look much more like a dragon, but the parts move much more smoothly together. It's a far more well-crafted piece of clockwork that has a much cleaner and simpler method of connecting a power supply. So you can attempt again using, I'm actually going to have you make an Arcana check.
Okay. Uh, 21.
Okay.
This dice is doing much better than the last.
Oh, good. Thanks, Jill. All right. You stick the shard into the power supply, part that you'd created on this dragon, and it sparks up. The crystal itself glows a little bit. It flickers from inside. A green light kind of just glows up a bit in the crystal, and suddenly the dragon comes to life.
I extremely inappropriately loudly exclaim with joy.
By the time you realize it's happening and you give your big whoop, it has stopped. The light dies in the crystal and the creature stops moving.
What? No, it did that. Oh
Are
And
you okay, friend?
I'm like freaking out, like on the edge of tears, like super disappointed.
I like
It, wa-
jog
it
over
was
and like,
working. It worked. I swear. And it did the thing. And there was a glow. It was awesome. Here, just wait here.
have you
And I'll
tried
try to
like
do
hitting it against something or something?
What's
Try
that?
hitting it.
Percussive maintenance.
Well, it's worth a try. Whack, whack.
Okay. Roll I'm gonna have you roll a dexterity and proficiency. Dexterity plus proficiency. You know how to hit a piece of clockwork to make it come back to life.
15? We'll see.
It flickers briefly again, long enough for you to see it, Kian. You see that the light pops on, but then it comes immediately back off again. It's like when a flashlight battery runs out, and you shake it a little bit, and it's like, no, that's it. You hit it again, you kind of wiggle the thing, you can't for the life of you get it to go again. Apparently whatever was in that little shard is used up.
That was cool. Was that what it was supposed to be doing?
I mean, like, sort of. I mean, it was supposed to do it longer than that, like, kind of indefinitely, I was hoping, but apparently it's just not very powerful when it's small.
It's fair. Well, it was cool. Thanks for showing me.
Yeah, I hope I didn't wake everyone. I didn't mean to yell so loud.
Everyone who's sleeping, Flame, Epiphany, Finnick, and Feely, that was a good call, Wex. Go ahead and roll perception with disadvantage and see if you wake up. Oh, Finnick, this is nothing. Definitely, you wake up when you hear your little buddy whooping. Flame, nope, you're out. Definitely out. Feely, snoozing soundly, blissfully unaware. Actually, Feely, you're tranced.
Yeah.
And you're definitely meditating in another world entirely.
I rolled a 7.
Epiphany, yeah, the day was so incredibly exhausting, and yeah, you're definitely still out. Wex doesn't disturb you with his hoop and holler this time. And Finnick, do you do anything, or do you just roll back over and go back to sleep?
Yeah, I mean, he would pop up. That he's still wearing the goggles. He sleeps in them, and just telescope in. He'd probably recognize that it's Wex and just kind of half sleep talky, like, "It'll work. It'll work." Seeing that no one's blown up, he'll go back to sleep. He kind of expects this of Wex.
Yeah, I think Wex is frozen again. So yeah, you're definitely at this point, you're used to Wexlarn's periodic outbursts as he tinkers with things during the night on his supposed watches when he's supposed to be watching for stuff. As your couple of hours draws to a close, Kian and Wex, is there anything else you want to do while you're on watch?
I guess I'm curious if I see anything. I'm not going to do this again, but anything that looks edible. I want to make sure that we're not going to starve out here. I only have a week's rations, and I don't know how long we're going to be out here. The kid probably doesn't have any. This is just my survival instinct.
There are giant berries on the trees that look edible, but that being said, they look like a cherry that's about this big.
Are those similar to the ones that we fed the big beetle?
They're somewhat similar. There's different ones. These ones are more kind of shiny and smooth, whereas those ones were a little bit more fuzzy on the outside. So it's maybe the difference between like a cherry and a peach or something like that.
I will note the location and resolve to maybe take some people with me in the morning to examine them and see what we're thinking about them. I think Feely has kind of drilled into Kian's head that like I shouldn't just go do stuff on my own in the Feywild. So I will respect that.
Cool. So as your watch time is drawing to a close, you are getting pretty darn tired, and it's time to wake up Epiphany and Flame for third watch.
Do you
All
want to
right.
wake up?
Yeah, I'll wake him up. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll use my tinker or my I can barely talk. My artificer magics to imbue the sound of an alarm clock on a stone and just throw it over there by him. And drop it.
So Flame wakes up and does a big yawn and some cat stretches.
Epiphany wakes up and starts stretching and looking around and says, "That was a lovely nap."
Indeed.
Do you turn off the alarm sound, or is it still going?
Oh, no. As soon as they're moving, I turn it off.
Okay.
I must say, I've never woken up that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really quite effective, huh?
Don't wake me up like that.
Yeah, no, we're on the same watch. It doesn't work like that.
I mean, next. Okay.
What did you say, Epiphany?
I just said it's effective. So Epiphany will grab a little snack, eat a couple things, and then pretty much immediately start doing handstands.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering what I see while I'm upside down.
Okay. Epiphany starts popping handstands. First, I'm going to have you do an acrobatics check, and we'll see how you're doing on your handstands.
Okay. That is a 22.
Oh, nice inversions. You're looking great. Epiphany's feet pop up, horns go down, kind of lightly grazing the ground with your tips of your horns and then lifting them up. As you're on your hands and you look up toward the horizon, you see that there's almost like a hazy shimmer between the ground and the sky, like as if it was like the heat waves that come up off of pavement or something like that in the hot summer, but it's not hot enough for it to be something like that. You just notice that there's a strange sort of a hazy shimmer that you could only see when you're that close to the ground looking along the horizon like that. Beyond that, roll a perception check for me. Or investigation, whichever one you want.
Flame looks at Epiphany, shrugs, and attempts a handstand as well.
All right, try an acrobatics check.
That was a 22 for investigation.
All right. Oops, you've got your disadvantage on Flame.
Turn it.
So with your 18 Flame, you're able to pretty accurately imitate the handstand that you saw. Using your tail to kind of balance you a little bit, it kind of lashes around if you start to fall one way, the tail pops out. It's it's pretty fun. This isn't a type of body movement that you're used to. You've done a whole lot of climbing, a lot of leaping and pouncing, a little bit of sort of attempts to use the tail for balance and stuff like that. But handstands, inversions, not so much. This is new for you, and it's kind of fucking awesome, actually. You find that if you dig your claws into the ground, you can get even better purchase, and start playing with things like going backwards up trees and coming back down, and doing like a flip thing. And pretty soon you start taking this handstand idea into cat-like realms that you couldn't have thought of before.
Nice.
Epiphany says, wow, you're really good at this. You must do this in your village too.
I don't have a village.
Oh, well, that must be interesting. Where do you come from?
I'm an orphan. I was raised in a city.
Wow, a city. I don't really know what cities are like. I have a lot of family. A lot of family. Some of my family are wolves. Some of them are tieflings. We all get along pretty well. I don't really know what I would do without them.
I have a brother and a sister. And both of them are older.
Do they travel with you?
No, they do not. My sister, actually, I don't know where she's at.
Oh, dear.
But that's a story for another time. My brother is some sort of nobleman somewhere.
Roll an insight check, Epiphany.
That is a 16.
You can see that with Flames, I don't know where she's at. That's a story for another time. There's some pretty heavy emotion he's burying there. You can't tell exactly what it is.
Okay.
But he's having a feel of some sort.
So Epiphany will say, well, I'm sorry if I brought up a sad thing, but you're very good at handstands. I think they're really fun. What do you think that hazy stuff is?
I can't say. I have never seen anything like it before.
Me either. It's pretty though. I feel like lots of things here are really pretty, but also kind of dangerous. My village is a lot safer than this place, but it is really pretty here.
I would agree that it is pretty and dangerous.
As you two are sharing, some handstand practice and doing more and more graceful inversions, and Epiphany, you notice some of the interesting things he's doing with his tail, and you start to emulate some of those, noticing different wit techniques that you can use with your tail to help keep you balanced in your handstand things that you can do in little flips and stuff using your tail. You guys both through observation are able to really improve your abilities just by kind of working out together. It's pretty neat. You're kind of lost in this, as at one point you both sort of come down out of a handstand, and there's a little like, whew, that one was hard, laughing a little bit, and you look over and you see your beetle friend approaching slowly, stopping to nibble on some grass here and there, coming from just the same direction as you all did. It looks like probably beetle friend has been following you for a while and was just taking its sweet time.
Epiphany says, hello, beetle.
I don't think it can understand you.
I think it's nice. I think we should try to be nice to it. Epiphany grabs a snack out of her pack, probably like a piece of fruit leather or something, and holds it out to the beetle.
Very fast. Gobbles up.
Nice. It wants to be our friend. Maybe it knows its way around here.
Flame moves closer to the beetle.
It's reaching towards you for your, it starts reaching out for your pouch, Epiphany, where you pulled the snack out of, and it starts like increasingly aggressively reaching for the pouch, like a horse that noticed where your cookies are at. You know what I mean? Like it's getting a little bit like intimate and a little too excited. And you start to kind of feel like the harshness of the poke of the thing. It's not being aggressive exactly as much as it just like wants more of that snack.
Okay, so she's like, oh, ow, oh, geez, ow. Okay. And she pulls out a snack and holds it up. Now, can you calm down? Can you calm down?
Roll animal handling.
Oh, it's a 7.
It starts swiping at your hand and trying to grab the treat from you. It's so big. It's like so much bigger than you are, you know?
Okay, so she'll chuck it a little bit, like the treat a little ways away, and then look for a tree to maybe climb up into to try to talk to it again with a little more distance.
It jiggles away with kind of its carapace like bobbing around and goes over to where the treat fell, gobbles it up, comes back to you remarkably quickly as you are climbing up the tree. Go ahead and roll acrobatics again for me to get up that tree.
That's 17.
Okay, yeah, easily you climb up the tree, and the beetle kind of comes around to the bottom and just starts waving those pinchers up at you a little bit.
Wow, it doesn't seem to understand what I'm saying, or it's just not very well trained. But I think it does want to be nice. I think we could make friends with it.
I think it mostly wants your food.
Well, it's good snacks, but I mean, I think it could be our friend. I think we should try to just be nice to things around here, and maybe things won't be so mean to us like those darn pixies were.
Well, we didn't really do much to the pixies.
Well, maybe we should eat our own snacks and not just help ourselves to their snacks.
It's circling around the bottom of the tree. It continues clicky-clacking the pinchers up at you, but it settles down after a little bit.
What can I see from the tree?
What did you ask?
What can I see from the tree?
Okay, rolling perception with advantage. I'll let you know.
Wow, so that was a 7 as well.
With advantage and everything.
Yeah, but I do have a passive perception of 15, so hopefully that gives me a little edge on that terrible roll.
I'll say that as you're attempting to get a really good scan of the horizon from the treetop, you continue to be distracted by the aggressiveness of the beetle from down below. It just keeps like clacking on the tree and scratching up at you. And roll an intelligence check really quick.
That's a 23.
Okay. You remember that it is still underneath the friends spell, or it's still under the, it's definitely still under the friends spell that Kian put on it. You remember Kian saying something about how that would last for 24 hours and that it hasn't been 24 hours yet. And so it makes you feel a little bit more like you can relax, and I'll have you go ahead and roll perception again.
That's a 7 again.
Okay. Looking out, it's impossible to really tell what's what in this landscape other than you can see that there are trees and flowers. You can still, from the tree, you can see the creek sparkling through part of the forest in the distance, you know. You can see that the forest is a bit thicker where you are than where you came from. And you can see that in the direction that you've been traveling, the forest gets thicker still, to a point where you can't even see much through it. The trees get bigger and thicker than the one that you're in.
Okay.
So looking around, it kind of looks like the options are to go deeper into a much denser forest, or to go back the way that you came.
Okay. So I think Epiphany will probably have a seat kind of straddling whatever branch she's sitting on, and absentmindedly look around and eat some snack and share some snack with the beetle.
Okay, so dropping some snacks down, the beetle is getting better and better at catching them. A couple of them it manages to seize out of the air as you're dropping snacks down from the tree.
And Epiphany will giggle pretty delightedly when it is able to catch them. Good job. Look at you. You're kind of cute in a weird, large, buggy sort of way.
It is kind of cute. It's got a big horn on it. It's really terrifying and gigantic and shiny, but yes, adorable, trying to wave those pinchers for snacks.
Maybe only in a way that a tiefling can really appreciate.
Right, totally. This is a good tiefling pet for sure. Super cute. And Flame, what are you doing while this is going on?
Well, if do I sort of realize that the beetle's not a threat at this point?
It doesn't seem like it's a threat. You can roll an intelligence check as well.
Okay. $18.
Very nice. Okay, with that 18, you also remember that Kian's friend spell would last for 24 hours. You remember him mentioning that. And so you become a little more settled, noticing that this creature is more just like a domestic animal that isn't well trained, that just wants snacks, but that it does have, you don't think it has the ability to hurt you through the spell.
So he'll clean off a spot somewhere to just kind of sit down, and then he'll do a cat bath. He'll start.
All right. Doing your cat bath in the beautiful golden semi-sunlight. It's remarkably pleasant. The air's a little humid. It's warm. There are a few bugs flying around. You see those same sort of papery winged butterflies flying around like kites. You notice, well, roll a perception check.
I'm going to use my actual dice here. Okay, so 18 plus wisdom plus 0. So 18.
All right. Do you have proficiency in perception?
I do.
Okay, so you'll want to also add your proficiency bonus, which I think is +2 right now at level 1.
Yep.
So 18 plus 2 is a dirty 20 for perception. So with that dirty 20, off in the distance, back in the direction from whence you all came, you can see pixies kind of flitting around amongst the trees, far away, and they don't seem to be coming this direction. They just seem to be moving around in the area where you were previously.
Okay, I'm gonna become fixated on the pixies, watching them, Yeah.
do you do a little butt wiggle crowd? Do you start making little chirping sounds? Watching
No,
the-
but he's very fixated on it. I mean, he continues kind of doing what he's doing, but he's watching them now.
Okay. Epiphany, roll perception while you're playing with your beetle. You can see that Flame has suddenly become quite fixated on something that he's looking at in the distance.
Hey, what do you see? What's down there? What's she doing?
There are some pixies. There are some pixies back in the direction that we came from.
Oh dear, those darn pixies.
They don't seem to be moving this way so far, but I'm going to keep an eye on them.
They're aggressive around here. My mom told me pixies are pretty aggressive, though. I hope we don't have to deal with them again. Do you think we should wake anyone up?
How far away are they?
Judging by your dirty 20, you would say like eighth to a quarter of a mile.
Okay.
You know, you can kind of just see them moving in and out of the treetops and stuff like that. You wouldn't know that they were pixies if you hadn't previously seen them.
Okay.
Kind of the way that when you're looking off at a tree in the distance and you can see like a flock of birds, maybe that's flying off and coming back or whatever, similar to that.
Flame says, I don't think we need to wake anybody up unless they get any closer, but we should definitely keep an eye on them, I would say.
Okay. Epiphany is pretty trusting for the most part, so she's like, all right. And keep with her beetle. Friend.
Okay. As you two are pleasantly and pleasurably passing a couple of hours in this gloaming light, playing with the beetle and checking things out in the environment, starting to get a little bit more at home in the environment, doing your handstands, taking your cat bath. You get really clean and pretty, Flame. You might pull out your lute, tune it a little bit or something, but very quietly, obviously, not to wake anyone up. Coming, however, towards the end of your watch, is there anything either of you two would like to do before you wake up the rest of the party?
Nope, I'm good.
Nope, I'm good.
It's gotten to be enough hours where everybody's gotten their trance or their rest. Feely, you come out of trance easily a little while before and just sort of observe while you see that Epiphany is in a tree. You see that the beetle has come back, and you can see Flame setting up on a stone, doing a cat bath, that Epiphany is playing with the beetle. That's kind of all you see. You were still in trance when they talked about the pixies far away. But you come out of trance before the rest of everyone else wakes up. Oh, and sorry, Key, and you as well.
And so Flame isn't still like fixated on the pixies, or is he?
He would probably continue to watch them.
Yeah, he's probably still watching them. Yeah, roll perception, both of you, Kian and Feely, and see if you notice.
That's a 9.
Oh.
Oh no. I got an 8. I didn't. There was a very small chance you beat me, but you did.
Yeah, there's so much going on with Epiphany playing with the beetle. She's got the beetle doing a couple of little tricks. She's managed to like get it to kind of walk a circle around the tree by using her tail to move the tree around the tree and kind of like just doing fun little things. She's got it to where she can make it kind of jump up a little bit, which looks very awkward with its giant body. It's making little snorty noises and the clickety clacks, and it's pretty captivating. And so it kind of looks like Flame is just doing his best. So it was a little bit too hard to tell what he was looking at.
Yeah, I think seeing Epiphany like playing and training the beetle would just sort of call up to her and be like, so are you having fun then?
Yeah, it's a friend.
Has anyone ever told you you seem to radiate joy from your very being?
Oh, thank you. I just really like to do fun stuff and meet new friends, and it's pretty fun.
It's very lovely.
Did you have a good nap?
Well, I wouldn't call it a nap so much as remembering, but yeah, it was good.
Good. Remembering. And Epiphany kind of repeats it in the same, like attempting to say it the same way that Feely did, like with the accent. Remembering. Okay. Like she's trying to put that into her memory.
Oh.
That's
Ian also, yeah.
Ian, go ahead.
Ian will just wander over and be like, do you mind if I try to talk to him?
Oh, everybody should talk to him.
Okay. Give me a minute and I'll try. And then he's just gonna like sit back down, look like he's going back into his trance, like he's asleep again, and spend the next 10 minutes ritual casting Speak with Animals, assuming nothing happens in the next 9 minutes and 59 seconds in this world.
All that happens.
Epiphany will ask Feely, is he remembering too?
I don't think so. I think he's already been doing that. I think I guess would I know that, because like I'm a pretty magic person, would I know that Kian is ritual casting?
Roll an
mumbling.
Arcana check with advantage. Wizards do ritual casting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought so.
21.
Yeah, so Kian does it slightly differently than you, but yeah, you know.
I'm like doing hand and mumbles, like very subtly, but yeah.
I think he's casting a spell.
Epiphany's eyes get big.
Watching from the tree, you can see Kian is sitting on the ground, his hands moving, small words being chanted and mumbled from his mouth, and you can see a slight little glow come up into his fingertips. Not really of any particular color or type, just almost like a vibrancy comes into his fingertips as he sits, and then his fingers come together and the glow sort of enters his heart, moves up into his throat, and he opens his eyes. During this 9 minutes and 59 seconds, Finnick and Wex, you both wake up, and you see this. You see that Epiphany is occasionally tossing a snack to the beetle, not necessarily making it do tricks anymore, but just sort of keeping it occupied for a little bit. And you see Kian is on the ground doing this, weaving and glowing and stuff. You see that Flame is up on a rock having a cat bath. And that Feely is kind of below the tree, watching the beetle, watching Kian, and having a small talk with Epiphany. Are you two just going to observe? Or are you going to do anything, Finnick and Wex?
I'll definitely just go over to Finnick and start talking to him. Finnick, I figured something out last night. The crystal works. It powered one of the little things.
Yeah, Finnick, just hearing his voice, the last way Finnick had woke up, he'll just kind of rustle awake. Did it blow up? Did it blow up? Oh no. You're just counting Wex's digits. All right. Wait, you said it worked?
It's much better than last time. It's fine.
So it worked then.
Yeah, well,
Whatever you were doing.
Yes, it worked. Sort of.
All right. He's going to count his digits one more time. That's good enough. Okay. And just point at the others. What are they up to?
I'm not really sure, but I kind of like these people. They're pretty curious, like us.
Yeah, they seem nice so far.
Yeah.
And
the one plays good music. That's nice.
yeah, do we notice, or at least would maybe Finnick notice him staring off at something really deliberately?
Roll perception. Both of you, if you want.
And 7.
Sevens. Lots of sevens tonight. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. That was Epiphany. That was amazing. That was too many sevens.
16.
Alrighty. Yeah, with your 16, you see the flame is fixated on something far in the distance. Finnick, what did you get? Oh, 7, that's right. Duh. Yeah, you see the flame is fixated on something in the distance that he's, doing his little bath, and then just sort of every now and then putting his paws down and squinting into the distance and doing the little wiggle. Tail will lash a little bit.
The flame one definitely sees something happening or something. I don't know. He's staring at something like over there. It's curious. Keen told me I could put the crystal in the fire.
Can Epiphany hear them talking?
Roll perception. Let's see. They might be audible to you. It's not beyond a possibility.
18.
Yes, you can hear them.
Don't put that in the fire. It's pixies. He sees pixies. Don't put that in the fire.
It's just a little piece.
No, don't do it. It'll just make the pixies come over here.
I think you two I think you all had decided not to make a fire, so I don't think that there is one right now.
Oh, that's right.
So he's just talking about it at the moment. He might be gathering sticks or something and trying to start a fire.
I would have been until she said that, and then I would have stopped and looked very chastised, but still unsure of why.
Don't upset the pixies. We need to be nice to people here.
Pixies? Where? Start freaking out.
That's what Flame's looking at. There are pixies over there.
Oh, God. I'll hide behind the nearest rock.
More, huh? Finnick will just gather his stuff and kind of go near where Flame is and just see if he can keep a beat on them.
Finnick, looking into the distance using your particular instrumentation, you can definitely see the pixies. You see that they're, roll a perception check for me now that you're looking and you know. Roll it with advantage because you have a little bit of magnification in your instrument.
So 16?
Okie doke. You can see that the pixies are busy. Some of them are carrying things back and forth. You see that there's a pattern of movement, that pixies are carrying things back and forth between different areas, that they're coming out from the trees and then back in. They're busy, definitely doing something.
And Finnick will just go ahead and give a thumbs up to Flame. Morning. Kind of trying to stay quiet just in case they can hear.
Flame is startled by he's snuck up on him. He's like, whoa, whoa, oh, hi, good morning.
Finnick startled him.
I was watching the pixies.
But so you walk up to Flame and Flame's like, whoa, whoa. Finnick's like, whoa, whoa.
Like, yeah, they seem to be up to something over there.
I don't like them.
Yeah, me neither. They seem to really treasure those mushrooms, and they're moving a bunch of stuff around. I think these pixies are drug dealers.
Epiphany's like, no wonder they're upset with us.
So at this moment, Kian completes his spell. And Kian, you have now casted Speak with Beasts. Speak with animals?
Animals, yep.
Speak with animals. The computer that I'm using for Roll20 is the slowest little dinosaur of a creature. It's so bad. I can't even scroll up. It doesn't even know what's happening.
Bless its heart.
Okay. Speak with animals. So what are you going to do?
Okay, so I'll kind of finish and just like do a final flourish or whatever. And then I'll stand up and walk towards the beetle that I assume is still just nearby, paying attention to Epiphany mostly. And I'll say, hi, friend. I was just wondering if you could understand me.
Hello.
Hello.
Snacks.
Snacks. Yeah, I do understand that.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I got a little on me, and
Give me some.
okay, sure. And he'll like take off his pack and like pull out a ration and like kind of unfold it from like the leaves it was being carried in, and just kind of like hand it.
It snaps up everything in your hand.
Epiphany's hanging upside down from the tree going, what did it say?
Mostly so far that he's hungry.
Snacks.
Yeah, snacks.
Oh yeah, snacks.
Do you like the berries in the trees?
Yes. I can't get to them usually.
Are there berries in the trees that Epiphany's in?
Yes.
Okay. Epiphany, he said, or they said that they would love some berries from the tree you're in if you don't want to waste all your snacks.
Okay. So Epiphany will climb up a little higher and use her tail to kind of swat some berries down. And she'll yell down to Kian, isn't he cute?
Pretty precious. Yeah, I like them a whole lot.
Snacks.
Good snacks?
Thank you.
Of course. Are you from the area?
The area?
Did you move far to get here?
Walked a long way to find you.
Longest you traveled?
Yeah.
You from that stream?
Yes. But my family is still small.
Do you know what made you so big?
I was swimming, and then I grew big.
I see. Well, that's quite the interesting story. Do you think your family will get big too?
I don't know. They ran away.
From you?
Yeah. I was very scary.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Would you be comfortable?
Okay, it was almost time for me to leave them anyway.
I think I understand that a little. Sometimes family isn't forever.
We travel alone, but I am not quite grown yet. But I am now.
Are you gonna get bigger or just smarter?
I don't know. Other beetles don't get this big.
When did you get big?
Yesterday.
Ian like turns and glares at Wax. Are you okay though?
What do you mean?
Are you happy?
I like snacks.
That's fair. I think a lot of people can agree with that. Do you imagine that you'll always want to be friends with us?
All that matters to me is food. And if I can find a mate my size.
Okay. Well, thanks for making your needs known. We'll see if we can help you with that. I see your friend up in the tree has been fairly helpful with the food thing, so I hope that's a good start.
She feeds me.
He'll like turn up and look at Epiphany and say in common, he likes you because you give him food.
Epiphany goes, yes.
Can you feel a tap on your arm? And it's the horn of this beetle.
Yeah.
I'm a girl.
Oh, my deepest apologies. I didn't mean to assume. I don't meet a lot of people where I'm from, and
It's okay.
yeah, no, but
Are
there's
you
no
a girl
excuse.
too?
No, I'm a boy. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Do you want to stay here or do you want to go elsewhere?
Wherever the food is.
Fair enough. And do you know anything about the the flying creatures that are around this area as well?
Which ones? There are many who fly.
The little ones, very colorful.
Pixies?
Yes, that is, yes.
Yes. I know pixies.
Are they kind?
No,
To no one.
kind is not a word. To them, they're kind or mine. We do not experience kindness. It's only what our needs are. Pixies are the same.
Understood. Well, I do want to warn you I won't be able to keep talking to you like this forever, but if you do need to tell me something, just nudge me a couple times with your horn again and I'll see if I can understand what you need. But I promise we'll be getting you food as long as you want it from us.
All right. How long does your spell last?
10 minutes. Yeah, so I don't want to talk for an hour.
Okay. Do you have more food?
Yeah. Yeah, for you, yes.
I must continue eating until I reach maturity so that I can mate and have offspring. My offspring will be very large.
That's understandable, I suppose. Are before I started talking to you yesterday, did you feel like you needed to eat us?
Yes,
Okay. Uh, please don't do that. We'll feed you other stuff.
if you run out of food, I might have to.
Thanks for the heads up, I guess.
I don't know how to not eat food, and your body is food.
That's very true. I hope that after I die, someone eats me, but for now, I'd like to keep my body.
Me too.
Deal.
It looks up at you, Epiphany. She looks up at you, Epiphany. Snacks!
Epiphany kind of laughs and drops more berries.
Do you have a name, friend?
My name is.
Do you mind if I just call you Beetle?
Beetle is fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you not like my name?
Unfortunately, I am not very great at a lot of languages, and this is not my native tongue. I just struggle with some of the vowels and the consonants and the grouping together of the sounds.
It's true. You have very weak mandibles.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment coming from you. But I can climb a tree, so we've all got our strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. On that note, we're going to take a break until 6:32 Pacific. And we'll see what happens next.
Cold-blooded.
Friends are looking for you.
Welcome back. Sorry we're late. I lost track of time. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna make something up. I'm not gonna make anything up. I just lost track of the time. That was me. All me. It is morning-ish. I mean, it's been, 10, 12 hours since you guys stopped for the night, stopped to make camp. I really want to stop saying night and day because it's such a ongoing twilight in the Feywild that it's really impossible to tell night from day. But it's oh, who's got the stream on? Is it me? Yep, it's me. That was annoying. So 10, 12 hours since you all stopped to make camp and everyone is rested. You have a beetle named Beetle and she likes snacks. She isn't sure she'll ever be able to find a mate her size because she just became this large yesterday and her rest of her family and her kind is not this big. She needs to eat a whole lot. Yes, a whole lot. In fact, if you run out of food, she's made it known that she might eat you guys because you are food. Other than that, you can see some pixies off in the distance. They're very busy. They are back in the direction from whence y'all came, in the area where you were yesterday. And they seem to be engaged in very busy behaviors, not necessarily coming this way. In the direction that in the rest of the directions besides where you came, it just seems like the forest gets thicker and denser, deeper, darker, damper. And that's kind of where we're at. Epiphany in a tree, Flame on a rock, Kian, Feely, Wex, and Finnick getting woke up, getting themselves gathered up, and making acquaintance of this beetle and observing the surroundings. What next, Mythologuers?
Finnick's definitely pulled out his map equipment again. He's back on it.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom check.
$20.
What'd you get?
Unclean 20.
Unclean 20. Cleanse that 20. Well, you and your nasty 20, as you are checking your configuration, you've noticed that your readings are off. This is a lot of the problem. You realize it because you notate one of your readings, and normally you would have moved on to the next one, but you were still standing in the same place and just retook the same reading again and noticed that it had changed. And you stand there in the same place and you take the same reading 5 times and you notice that you get 5 different results. Your topography is different, slightly different elevation each time. Your distance from your last known point is different. It's almost as if either every single thing about this environment is in flux at all times, or your configuration is so affected by whatever the magical and magnetic fields are in the Feywild that it just is in flux all the time. But either way, you cannot get consistent readings.
Yeah, so Finnick's just off sort of by himself, like shaking this locket mechanism that he's had the whole time and just sort of complaining under his breath. That's what he's up to.
Do I see this happening?
Yeah.
I do. I will absolutely offer some assistance.
Oh, what's going on there? Is something wrong with your little gadget?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seemed like you tuned it up pretty well, but I swear I haven't moved an inch, and
Well, I mean, I
Giving me
can
different
see there's
readings.
broken right here. I mean, look at this strap.
Oh, that. Yeah, he kind of like makeshifted, tied it and wrapped like, oh yeah, this part's definitely broken.
I can fix that real easy.
And I'll pull out my what tool should I use? I'll pull out the little pair of pliers from my my Tinker's kit, and I won't actually touch them to anything. I'll just kind of wave them around in front of it or above it, and mumble some words under my breath, like barely audible, and it'll just kind of reseal itself. I'll cast Mending on it.
All right. Pliers come out, and you've seen Wex do this before, Finnick, but the rest of you have not. Wexlarn takes his pliers, and instead of doing anything on Finnick's gadget, he actually does. He just waves it around over it, and the leather and cloth straps sort of wind themselves back together. The cloth sort of seems to grow where it had burnt off, and weaves itself back together, and then clips itself back into the locket, wrapping around your hand again.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I still don't know how you do that, but handy. And though this thing still isn't giving me proper readings. I haven't moved, and everything just seems to have moved around us. Have you noticed that at all?
Well, I mean, that hill swallowed my good walking stick right at the start of this place. Like, that wasn't very cool.
We do need to find you a new walking stick. Pinnacle actually
wherever
put
it
that
is,
on.
it's still light. It's still lit up. It's still glowing wherever it is. Like, it should be pretty easy to find if we're close.
I don't think that place is where we are right now.
That seems valid.
Yeah.
Danny, you guys have any idea, like, how we actually got here? Was it the druids?
Astara at this point wakes up or has awakened and approaches where you all are talking. She says, you notice her for the first time, Wex, as she answers your question. She says, I've never seen the druids do anything like that at the bear ceremony. Maybe they do, but I've never seen it.
You're pretty much the only one that has any information about this. I don't think any of us have actually been to this before.
Well, we did have another druid in attendance. Kind of scope over to Kian. Any familiarity with this? Or were you just a tourist like us?
Yeah, this was my first time as well. I heard about it from a friend and decided to check it out. Didn't expect anything like this, and she didn't warn me about anything like this. She just said that sometimes a kid gets to be a druid and that it's a cool thing. So congratulations.
She said that?
Yeah. She didn't know specifically about you, but every druid around seems to know and care about this ceremony. It seems like something that really matters, and it's nice to see the youngins coming into the fold.
Have you ever seen the druids move people between the planes before like that? Like this?
I think I've heard that it's possible, but I've never personally witnessed it. But honestly, I don't know as much about magic as I don't know. It flows through me more than I particularly study it, I guess I could say.
Okay. So, well, you didn't do it then. and I didn't do it.
Epiphany attempts to do a fancy little flip out of her tree and says, I didn't even know I was coming, but we should probably figure out where we're going.
Make an acrobatics check and see how that flip out the tree goes.
17.
Very nice. Lovely. Land on your feet.
Has anybody seen a way out, or where should we go next? A path or anything?
Well, there are a lot of portals between the Feywild and the material plane, but they're not like particularly easy to find unless you know where they are.
Would you happen to know where they are? You've been here, right?
Well, yeah, I know where a couple are, but I don't really know where we are. So, kind of puts a damper on things.
Fair enough. If we can get close enough to one and hold up the configuration, I might be able to find it, but this thing's misbehaving at the moment.
Not entirely surprised by that, but
I never misbehave anymore.
you should try it once in a while. It's fun.
I used to all the time, but I got in trouble.
My mom always told me there's a certain amount of mischief that's good for a child. I certainly got into my fair share, and it seems I still do.
Well, I have to be careful because if I misbehave, sometimes bad things happen. So I try not to, but it's good to know that you won't hate me if I do.
Of course not. And honestly, even if a bad thing happens, there's still learning to be done from it. So don't shy away from anything as long as it's not going to harm people around you or yourself.
Okay, but sometimes maybe it could. I don't know. It's pretty big.
Yeah, take caution when you need to, child.
I have to deal with that myself. It's just a risk that you have to take to get better at what you do.
That's what my dad say. But I was worried that I would hurt one of them. But maybe you all have more power and can protect yourselves better. My dads are just normal guys.
I'd hazard a guess that you have more power.
I definitely have more power than them. That's why I have to be so careful. I don't want to hurt them.
Well, you're with people that are cut from the same hide as you now, and we'll help you, so.
I like that. Cut from the same hide. Epiphany?
Yes?
I like your hide. Where did you get that?
Well, it was given to me by one of my wolf parents. I can tell you all about it on our journey.
You have wolf parents? I definitely want to know all about that.
Yeah, every tiefling in my village, when we reach a certain age, we're adopted by a wolf family. It's pretty special.
Well, if I'm not going to go to the bear cave, then I guess I don't really care where we go, but we should probably get back because Feely says that we shouldn't be here.
We're definitely better off back in the material plane, I think.
I kind of like, me and Finnick want to explore the Feywilds, but in order to really explore the Feywilds, you have to know where you're starting in the Feywilds. Like, it doesn't work to just start somewhere where you don't know.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's kind of how it works. I was going to tell you before we actually came here. This place doesn't obey any of the same rules. And that stick we left behind isn't taking us back. For all I can tell, we might need to find these bears if we want to get out of here.
All right then.
Unless you
Pull
want
out
to
my
go back to
magnifying
the
glass. Oh, like that's gonna help me at all, and I'll start looking for bear tracks, which I've never seen.
Okay, magnifying glass, bear traps. Bear traps. Roll an investigation looking specifically for bear traps. And also, Finnick, what did you just finish saying as that was being spoke? Unless we want to what?
Oh, unless we plan to go back through the pixies.
I don't think we do, Epiphany says while she's doing cartwheels and handstands.
No, she said that the pixies don't know kindness and kind of gestures towards Beetle.
That's pretty true.
16.
Flame sort of perks up at this point and says, I'm happy with moving away from the pixies myself.
Wex, you don't find any bear traps. You do, however, find some tracks, old tracks in some of the softer parts of ground that have, dried out and then softened again and been tracked through. But you can see many different kinds of tracks. So I'm going to have you roll a survival check really quick. And if you want to do this by yourself, that's fine. Or if you want to call in assistance, you can definitely see a muddy spot that has many different kinds of tracks going through it.
I found it. One of these is bound to be a bear.
You pique Epiphany's interest, and she has proficiency in investigation. So if you want to back up on that, I can help you.
I can help purely if you describe to me what a bear track looks like. Like, I really wouldn't know. Like, it's far beyond my realm of knowledge.
You can roll investigation with advantage as you two are helping together. But Epiphany, you're going to be the one rolling because you're the one who has proficiency.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Epiphany's like, I definitely know what bears look like. They kind of look like wolves, but rounder. And that is a 19.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Okay. With your 19, you find tracks that look like deer tracks. You find tracks that look like goat tracks, but as you're looking carefully at the goat tracks, it definitely looks like they are not walking on 4 legs. You see goat tracks where it looks like it's just 2 legs. You see both tracks that appear as wolf and tracks that appear as bear.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of traffic through here, actually. There's some 2-legged goats, and definitely some wolves. Maybe there's some of my kin. And definitely some bear tracks through here too. We could try following a set of tracks. But yeah, it looks like there's definitely a lot of animal people that have been through here.
Yeah, would Finnick maybe have heard of 2-legged goats?
Roll history or nature.
Kian's also curious, I guess.
Roll history or nature.
15 here.
Is that could Feely get in on that too?
Sure, anybody who wants to. Feely, you can roll with advantage.
I guess some of Epiphany's tiefling kin could potentially leave 2-legged goat tracks as well.
Certainly, yeah, that's something that is a thing, although the size of the hooves is a little bit different.
So she would be able to recognize tiefling versus.
Yeah, they're shaped differently. It's not even, as you look at it closer, it's not even the size, it's really the shape. It doesn't look like the kind of cloven hoof that a tiefling has, which is a little different from a goat. It's more like a bull.
Okay. So then she'll add, it's definitely none of my family or kin that have been through here recently. I definitely don't see any tiefling tracks, except my own.
So what did we get for our nature and history checks?
18 on history.
Dirty.
Glenn got a 15 on nature.
I also rolled nature and got a dirty 20.
Unclean 20.
Okay.
I got a 15 history.
Okay, so Finnick and Flame, you both have heard stories of creatures in the Feywild that have different animal parts, you know, where it's like the top half is of a person and the bottom half is of a horse or a spider or of a goat. You've definitely heard of these kinds of things. It seems likely to you that it's one of them. Kian and Feely, looking at these tracks. Kian, you're looking and you know that this is definitely not an animal that occurs on the material plane at all. Mm-hmm. You have heard stories of Fae that have goat feet, and Feely and Kian, both of you looking at these would, you think that they are either satyr or gruff. And Feely, what you would know about that is that if they're satyr, they're just as likely to be a serious threat as they are to be a boon and help, or completely ignore you. Any of those is equally likely if they're satyr. Also looking, you can tell that these tracks are kind of old. They're more than a day old. If they're gruff, then they are likely not a threat, possibly allies, unless they're specifically associated with people who would recognize you, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these tracks certainly aren't something from the material plane, I'll tell you that much. It's probably some sort of upright humanoid goat guy, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah, like a satyr or a gruff. Those are sort of the two options. Either way, they're probably best not to mess with too much. Definitely go forward with a humble attitude, I suppose, but they're well past here by now, so.
Epiphany's like, wow, a satyr or a gruff. Cool.
Yeah, anyone who's heard stories of the Feywild has heard stories of the satyr and the gruff. They live, you know, the satyrs, they live like wild creatures. They sometimes will lure mortals through the Feywild with their panpipes and their wily ways. They can be very compelling. They're very charismatic, sexy and fun and friendly, and they love to swoosh mortals away and get them involved in all sorts of capers and get them lost and possibly killed and bend them to their will and things like that. Gruff, on the other hand, tend to be very noble creatures. They have strong ethical codes. Most of them are in the employ of the summer court. The few that are independent fae are independent because they're on missions of their own. Very rarely, if ever, would one find a gruff alone. They are highly connected in their family groups, and they're never idle. They're always in pursuit of something. They're always on a quest, a mission with a goal. Something important is happening. They're busy.
Seeing that this area has a lot of foot traffic, would Feely, like, I don't know, it's a long shot, but would Feely recognize it as any sort of established route to and from somewhere? Or
roll a survival check again and see if you can figure out where you're at.
That's a 7.
Wow, 7.
These wisdom-based skills are not mine.
Okay, 7. All right. Yeah, Feely is not really in their element where this is concerned. And no, you just can't. There are places like this all over the Feywild. This is a marshy edge of a forest that probably has a marsh or a bog in it. You can tell that it's getting damp and moist. The soil is spongy, and there's moss throughout, and it looks like so many other forested areas of the Feywild. It's just impossible to tell.
Finnical looked pretty nervous after hearing Satyr. It could be real trouble if we ran into one of them. Not cool at all. And he's making notes. It's like, in fact, since there are so many of us, we may want to come up with a word that all of us know, just in case. And he'll tell Astara specifically, if somebody tries to call you away and they don't know this word, and he'll turn, what should we make the word? A code, in case a stranger tries to get in our midst.
Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel. So I should ask them what the code is, and if they don't say pumpernickel, then I don't go with them?
Exactly. And that goes for all of us. If you have any questions about somebody, ask them what the word is. If they don't know pumpernickel, pumpernickel them full of arrows.
Flame, what's the code word?
Pumpernickel.
You did it right.
Yeah, and Finnick will go ahead and scout.
What's the code word?
Well, I mean, I prefer Avakasha myself, but it's pumpernickel.
Avakasha. Avakasha.
It's always been one of my favorite words. It's just fun to say. Pumpernickel.
She starts singing it and skipping and clapping. Astara seems to be in a really good mood today. She got a lot of sleep.
Sing and clap and skip with her too.
There's like everybody roll an insight check really quick.
Yeah. 5.
I got a 7.
No more 7s.
Just like 1 7 for every group roll.
Maybe we're getting all our 7s out of the way for the year. Hopefully.
That's cool.
I got a 16. I don't know if you heard that.
Nice.
Okay. You notice that a weight seems to have lifted off of Astara. Epiphany. Looking at her, you realize that basically until yesterday, she was pretty sure that she was possibly going to get killed by bears at this, on this particular night, that this is like in some big ways kind of the first day of the rest of her life. she's been invited to learn magic in multiple different ways that don't involve being placed in front of a bear cave to possibly be eaten, which was just, she was just assuming her whole life that was what was going to happen. And now suddenly it might not. And there's this like normalcy of childhood that's come over her, and she's acting like a regular kid for the first time since you've met her. Making dumb jokes and running around and, basically being 11.
Epiphany kind of giggles and looks at her and takes her hand and says, I'm really glad we're friends.
Me too. Thank you. I've never been friends with a tiefling before. You guys are really nice.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm the first of many tiefling friends of yours.
I hope so too, because you're also really pretty.
Thank you.
And you know how to feed the big bugs.
The trick to making friends with most people is snacks, I've found.
Yeah. Actually, do you have any more?
Of course I do. Epiphany hands her satchel of good snacks.
As soon as the satchel is in the hand of the little kid, the beetle just starts swarming at the little kid. It doesn't hurt her, but definitely like overwhelms her. She's like, ah!
He picks her up and sets her on her shoulders.
Oh! She takes hold of your horns.
Okay, all right. Easy, Beetle. Easy, Beetle. Beetle's always hungry, she says, like looking up at her.
Ah, okay. These are cool. So she takes the satchel and she starts throwing snacks down to Beetle. Have you all decided which way you're going to go?
Fennec's scouting a little bit ahead, just trying to get a view of. I look like our route was in deep forest.
Finding your way into the forest a little ways, Finnick. You look, and you should roll a survival check for me.
22.
You are able to find a trail. As you're following these, looking at these tracks and footprints, you notice that some of them create kind of a game trail through the forest almost. You definitely see that there's a part that is worn and walked. Maybe not super regularly. It's a little bit hard to pick out here and there, but it's a visible, followable trail through the forest. Looking into the forest looks kind of deep and thick. Pretty heavy forest as you're looking at the trees they do get closer and closer together. There's a lot of moss and vines kind of hanging from them, and the undergrowth is getting more and more intense with many of those fern-like plants and bushes that have large berries. Some have large thorns, and some are definitely the ones that you saw with mouths with teeth. So although the path looks like it probably is regularly traveled by some things that may or may not be threats, some things that probably are, it also looks like it would be somewhat threatening to not go on a path.
Okay. Yeah, he'll call out to everybody. Looks like this may be our best shot, but I'm not going to say it's a great one. Just kind of point toward this looming forest. And he's also going to find if there's a piece of stone, just like a rock nearby. He's just going to make a chalk mark on it, just with a 1, number 1.
Okay.
And then correspond that to his map.
All right. You mark a rock.
Do the bear tracks that we've found seem to be going that direction, per se?
Let's see, what did you... Yes, so there are actually tracks that appear to be bear going both directions.
Okay.
Both the way you came and the way you seem to be going.
And neither looks like more recent than the other, it's just there.
Not really. They're all more than a day old. sunk into this spongy earth.
I feel like we press on.
Ugh, I hate roughing it. I get it's probably the best way, but I'd rather not.
Are you hungry? You seem a little hangry.
I have snacks.
I suppose a snack could do me good, but truly someone's going to be having to lead the way. That's definitely not me. I'm not going to get us anywhere decent.
Astara, hanging on to Epiphany's horn, leans over and reaches out a snack to you, Feely. Here's one.
And I think Astara, like on top of Epiphany for a nice mental visual, is probably about like eye level, maybe with Feely. And Feely just reaches their hand out and is like, "Oh, thank you, child."
You're welcome. Thank Epiphany. It's hers.
That's true. Like I said, Epiphany radiates joy and kindness, so I'm not entirely surprised she'd be willing to give up her own snacks.
Yeah, we all have to make sure that Epiphany gets her snacks back.
It's okay, we can share.
Okay, I have a lot too, because I was going to be traveling for a while.
Good, we can all share.
Please, what do you eat?
Sorry?
What do you eat?
Meat.
Ew. I don't.
Actually, I eat all sorts of things, but I prefer fish and birds. And mice.
Wow. I don't want to see you eat.
Well, I haven't seen any of those things around here, so...
If I see any, I'll tell you and then I'll look away.
Okay.
I think hearing about like food being consumed, Kian is like, okay. I think he's gonna try to like climb the berry tree from earlier and just kind of like knock out as many as he can, for both us and Beetle.
Good idea.
Okay. You start knocking berries down and Beetle starts munching them just as fast as they hit the ground. She is just going around lumbering with her big beetle shell.
I kind of was afraid of that. Honestly, I don't think she's going to be able to keep pace with us, and I don't know how much longer she's going to be willing to not eat us. She's very hungry. She also wants to find a mate, but I think Wex's little stunt yesterday is what made her so big, so I'm not convinced that's going to happen, and honestly, the whole procreation of this big beetle, I get that she's like an endangered species now, but it is a threat to the natural ecosystem balance. Don't tell her I said that, though.
So it seems like the crystal that got knocked into the stream made her big. So there must be a way to make her small. Maybe we can, along the way, make that part of our mission is to help Beetle. Because there's not going to be another beetle that she can mate with her size. I mean, maybe. But it seems like maybe getting her back to her normal size would be ideal.
My best approximation as well. I don't know, the cold water made it big, but I'm not sure that the elements are always going to be the solution. So Wex, don't be getting any ideas and just throwing her on a fire when we're not looking, okay?
What are we talking about? It's clearly warm water. warm water is the answer.
I think we know that.
Hard to argue with his logic, but I would
No,
like to.
It's not that hard to argue with the logic. I can argue with it just fine. I'm pretty sure it's just a thing dissolving into the water. Like, that was the problem. The crystal was the problem, not the temperature of the water.
So if we put another crystal in the water, will it make another big beetle? Or if we throw her in, will it make her even bigger?
I think it's probably best to not mess with it anymore. I think, as harsh as it is to say, she might need to just die out as the last very large beetle of her kind.
Epiphany looks up at Astara and says, Pumpernickel! And points the way forward and starts trotting.
Pumpernickel! Pumpernickel! It's okay, Beetle! Pumpernickel!
Honestly, I'm a little concerned that if she continues to follow us, she's going to eat us in our sleep if we're not careful. But perhaps I can just continue trying to convince her that we're friends with magics and such. But it is quite a drain. I'm not a huge fan of just killing for the sake of killing, but this really could disrupt the ecosystem. I'm not sure what to do here.
Can we,
I'm gonna.
can we convince it to go the opposite way of us? Just say there's more food that way. Send it on its way.
Worth a try?
I want to pull a crystal out of my backpack, preferably the one that was changed color, like it had spent
The one that you
some
broke?
of its magic, and touch it to the beetle and see if it absorbs some of the power, some of the magic back out of it.
Okay, are you going to try to do this secretly, or are you doing it out in the open?
I'll just do it. It wouldn't occur to me to be secret about it.
Okay. So you pull out this crystal from your backpack and you walk up and touch the beetle
Do
with
we
it.
notice his intent? Because if Feely does, they would offer to use the mage hand.
What's your passive perception, Feely?
11.
You don't notice.
I'm not. I have -1. So I'm not good at this.
You're busy. You're worried. You're preoccupied. He's
Are you trying to
focused.
make it bigger? I think like right as it happens, Kian will be like, "What are you doing?" But more curious than like upset.
What's your passive perception?
15.
15. Yeah, with your 15, you do notice just as he's like reaching out with the crystal to touch Beetle. Kian asks you, "What are you doing?"
Well, since these things are kind of like a battery of sorts, I'm hoping that since it's faded, it'll take back some of its power. Sorry about this, beetle friend. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Wait, hold on. Do you want? Sorry. Maybe it's best if we do this from a distance. Would you care to?
I don't want to just throw it at the beetle.
Are you
That's
gonna
a
throw
terrible
it?
Throw
idea.
it. And like quickly like draws their little glyph, puts their hand through it, watches the phantom hand come out, and like floats a little mage hand over to Wax. Like distance.
Wait. First of all, that's a great idea. Second of all, you have to show me that. I have to know how to do that. I could have been hurt so many less times if I knew how to do that.
Yeah, no, that's sort of why I learned it myself. You can satisfy a lot of your curiosity if you're not that up close to things.
You wouldn't believe how many times I poisoned myself.
Oh, I think I really would.
It happens.
Okay. You Take the crystal with the mage hand, and you touch the beetle with it. There is a definite reaction, and I'm gonna have you roll Arcana. And Feely, you can roll an Arcana check as you watch this happen, and you can roll it with advantage as you receive assistance from Wexler, if that's okay. Or do you want to roll your own Wex?
I have proficiency in it. If you don't,
So
I'd rather roll my own.
Both of you go ahead and roll an Arcana check. Each of you roll one of your own.
Oh shit! 25.
Mine was only 22. You got me beat.
Oh my.
Okay.
We rolled fire on that shit.
Yeah.
You watch as the crystal appears to, as it contacts the beetle, there's a kind of a smoke that begins to rise, or maybe steam from the crystal at first, and then the longer it's touching the beetle, the more the crystal begins to sort of smolder, and it develops a deep dark glow within again. It also seems to be having some kind of effect on Beetle. She skitters away from it. It doesn't seem to be comfortable. As she does, you see a mark on her side where it touched her.
Oh, that seems like it went really bad. I didn't mean to do that. I thought maybe she'd get smaller, not branded.
Yeah, no, that definitely seems weird. Wexler, do you mind if we, maybe tap it to your arm and see if it has the same sort of effect, or is it having some of that bit of magic?
Oh, good idea.
Great. Brings the mage hand with the crystal over to Wax and
he holds out his arm. The crystal.
I'm super excited, by the way. I am no nervousness on my face. I am fascinated.
Yeah, and Feely this isn't a malicious thing. They're not trying to be mean to Wexline. They're just
for science.
Oh shit, yeah.
It's just for science. No big deal. Okay, so Wex, you feel this crystal contact your arm, and it kind of holds against you for a moment. It feels cool. And that's all.
It doesn't really seem like it's having the same effect.
Huh. So it's infused with the same magic of the crystal that's causing it to react a weird way.
It seems like that, yeah.
If we tapped a couple of crystals together, what do you think would happen?
How many hands do you have?
I suppose only the 3, but only one spectral.
Okay.
I put my goggles down and kind of get my neck inside my leather armor as much as I can, and put my hand up with a crystal in it, as far away from myself as I can. This is my plan for safety.
Okay, I'm ready.
Perfect.
Wait. Couldn't we do that one on the ground and then touch the other one with the hand?
But what if you can feel it heating up?
Okay.
I mean, last time it touched the ground, it made beetle. Do we really want to do that?
No, that was the last time it touched some water, but you have a good point. I don't want to do that, so I'm all in for this.
It's cool. I got gloves on and my goggles.
See, he's protected.
He's a professional.
Somebody take notes.
You touch these
From
two
far.
crystals together as Finnick watches through his gadget, his goggle gadget, and takes notes. Flame watching with curiosity, tail flicking back and forth. touch these two crystals together, and for a moment it doesn't look like anything happens. I'll have you roll perception checks, anybody that wants to.
I think Epiphany and Astara are kind of up the.
Yeah, you've got Astara effectively far away. She's distracted. She's watching the trees.
We're playing. You guys can probably hear us giggling and singing Pumpernickel and other silly things.
I think my numbers are going down.
You become a little bit distracted just watching Epiphany and Astara running on the road ahead. Astara kind of bouncing on Epiphany's shoulders, and it's just so cute. Or not on the road, but on the path up ahead. And Astara's reaching for some vines, and for a second it occurs to you that those might not be the right kind of vines to reach for. But before you have a chance to say anything, you remember that you're supposed to be looking at this crystal and trip over a root. Make a dexterity saving throw.
19.
Okay, you're good. You don't fall down. But you definitely don't notice anything happening with the crystal. I have a 16, 11, a 6, a nat 1. What else for perception?
6.
All right. Kian, with that 16, you see it first. Looking at where the two crystals meet each other, you can see that there's a lighter spot beginning to emerge on the darkened crystal where the whole crystal was touching it. Looking more closely, the longer that they're touching, that lighter spot begins to spread through the darkened crystal, as if contact with the unbroken crystal is healing it somehow, or replenishing its power in some way.
Something's happening. I think that it's fixing the one you broke, Wax.
Awesome. I'll grab the little like clockwork toy and hold the crystal part of it to the other ones too, just to see if it works.
Okay, you put the clockwork piece up to the whole crystal also, and as you're holding the toy with the crystal power supply touching the whole one, the unbroken crystal, you see it begin to glow a little bit green, and suddenly in your hand your little dragon starts moving.
Flame starts applauding. Bravo, bravo.
Yes, it's working, finally. I have never figured out a way to power this machine.
Oh my goodness. I'll teach you the mage hand if you teach me how to make these little trinkets. This is
Deal.
amazing.
Did it do its full recharge thing?
As you're holding it against the unbroken crystal, it's moving. Do you take it off again?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, you take it off again, it moves for a moment longer.
Okay. So I want to pull the other crystal down then, the one that was had the piece broken off of it, and see if it uncharges too after a second. If it was just a fleeting recharge, or if it's actually gonna hold the charge.
The larger, okay, so you have two broken pieces, the tiny one in the clockwork and the larger one that you broke it off of.
Yeah.
Both of those have been in contact with the unbroken crystal. The tiny one in the clockwork ran out right away almost as soon as you took it off. The large broken piece has now about a third of it looks like it looked before it was broken. It has the lighter green look. It has the intricate facets inside. The rest of it still looks dark. When you remove it from contact, it stays like that.
Awesome. Well, this is fantastic. This is totally going to work. Thank you.
Yeah, we learned something new. That's incredible.
Haley, why are you laying down? Why are you on the ground?
Oh, Feely didn't fall.
Okay.
They just tripped, but they didn't fall.
It was a
Okay.
close call.
Stumbled. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they hit that deck save and they didn't fall.
Yeah, Finnick will be like, looks like you made force batteries. Good job. And he'll probably notice that Epiphany and the Star have left. And he's like, it appears the Vanguard's already on the way. He'll start following behind them.
Yeah, maybe you might want to get ahead of them. You're a little bit, I don't know. I feel like I trust you with navigating. So.
Kind of better from a distance, but he'll kind of look around at everybody else and take stock. Like, yeah, okay, I can take point. Very nervously, he will.
As you move ahead up the path, you also pass Beetle, who is doggedly sort of chasing after Epiphany and Astara. Making those little noises that seems like Kian was translating as the word snacks. It seems to be a pretty single-minded creature. You pass Beetle and make your way up the trail to Epiphany and Astara, where they're up ahead, just very carefree, playing with vines and leaves and, Epiphany trying to remember to remind Astara not to touch things. Astara trying to remember not to touch things and reminding Epiphany not to touch things. Oh no, don't touch that. And this is how you find them.
Yeah, he'll just show up. Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel! Isn't this wonderful?
Yeah, seems great. He's very nervous. But he'll go ahead and take point. Like, looks like you're having fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Why not? I mean, even in the most challenging of times, there's time for fun.
That's a great answer.
Epiphany, roll an insight.
That is 14.
You can tell that you can really tell that Finnick is scared.
Okay. So Epiphany will kind of slow down.
You can
she'll look at Finnick and say, how can I help?
Oh, no, you're doing great. Keeping watch over the kiddo. I'll make sure it's safe ahead.
Okay.
No need to worry. I've passed dozens of simulations. This is easy.
Okay. Well, just so you know, I'm an investigator too. So if there's anything I can help with, just let me know. I mean, I'm just an apprentice. I'm learning, but I'm I'm learning.
Same. Good to know. I'll let you know if anything catches my eye. I'll telescope in.
Yeah, that's a really fancy eye you have there. I look forward to learning about it.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Me too.
Did you make it yourself?
No, it's provided by the guild.
The
It was
guild?
made for me.
Wow, what's the guild?
The cartography guild. And as he's kind of watching the trail, he'll pull out his identification. I'm a member of the Temporal Anomalies Division. Cadet.
Epiphany looks and kind of blinks. Wow, that seems very important.
I suppose importance is relative, but I take it seriously, and pretty sure I can manage this.
This may be the first time that anyone has treated you with a level of importance that you feel like your job might actually command. Like, you're like, this is, yes, that is the right reaction to this badge. Like, whoa.
Yeah, he does get a little swell, because usually when he shows that identification, nobody actually responds.
People are like, okay.
No. But he does, he picks up a little bit. He probably feels a little more confident taking point.
Epiphany says, well, in Nelwyn, we don't have any fancy badges. And like I said, I'm just learning, and the only tools that I have are in my backpack. But please do let me know how I can be helpful.
Well, certainly. And you're watching out for the kid, and I'll let you know if there's anything up ahead that we should be eyeing out for.
Good. Yeah, perfect. Isn't she great?
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
As you all are, what's everyone else doing? Is everyone else continuing up the trail as well?
Yep.
Yeah, as we're going, I think I'd like to start ritual casting Speak with Animals again, because I do want to tell Beetle that maybe she should head out on her own, since that seems to be the consensus.
All right. You take that 10 minutes as you all are heading up the trail. So current order is Finnick, then Epiphany, with Astara on her shoulders. And Epiphany, just roll a quick constitution check and see how you're holding up physically.
That is a 21.
Okay, you're doing great. And then behind Epiphany and Astara is Beetle, who is really kind of, waddling along, trying to get them snacks. And Astara is occasionally tossing a little morsel chunk of something over her shoulder, plucking a berry off of a vine or something if she forgets herself, and
Perfect. That's exactly what I was picturing. That's awesome.
Throwing stuff down to Beetle. Who's going behind Beetle?
I can do that.
All right, Kian. Walking and ritual casting. I'm just going to have you go ahead and roll a dexterity check to see how you do on that path.
For sure. Nine.
You repeatedly keep slowing down and wandering a little bit off track, and kind of like stopping and bumping into a tree or whatever. Who's right behind Kian?
I can take that. Or Feely.
So
I was gonna walk. I wanted to walk with Feely anyway, because I wanted to be talking about the mage hand. And
so Wex and Feely, as you two are walking up the trail, Wex, you're tiny, and so you're kind of like partially behind Feely and partially like next to them. They're literally like Feely and Wax talking next to each other is a really interesting sight because Feely, you're what, 6'5" or something like that?
Yeah, like 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah, like 6'5" or 6. And Wax is literally under 3 feet tall.
3'2".
Oh, sorry, just barely 3 feet tall. My bad. I'm so sorry, buddy.
That is a hill he will die on, too.
Either way, he does not go up to Feely's hip. Like,
Yeah, so yeah, he's not, yeah, he's definitely knee high, barely above knee high on Feely. And just kind of like trotting along, talking, really having no trouble keeping up, but it is certainly a comical sight. However, the two of you keep being hung up and kind of almost bumping into Kian as he's like stopping and getting distracted trying to ritual cast this. And then behind you, Wex and Feely, Flame bringing up the rear, as usual, checking behind your party from time to time, you know, having your keen senses on the alert for if your group is being followed. So Flame, go ahead and roll a perception check for us as the rear guard. $18. Okay. Wex and Feely, any comments for Kian as he's ritual casting on the trail?
I think, like, if Feely notices that Kian is ritual casting it again, would just be like constantly riding him on the trail, like,
right, just like
being like that way, that way, that way, go. While talking to Wexlarn about the mage hand and the clockwork creations that you make, because I'm curious about that.
I wouldn't be upset personally because like I would be trying so hard to keep up with Feely that like slowing down occasionally would be like super welcome.
Totally. Okay, Flame, you hear it before you see it, a buzzing. Getting angrier and louder. And finally, like, I mean, you're looking and you can't find the source of it. And finally you see one, then another. And then suddenly you could see the cloud of them, a swarm of those bees, those pink and orange bees that you had seen earlier, swarming in and beginning to dive bomb at you first, Flame. They're coming from behind. So make a dexterity saving throw really quick.
Okay.
Really quick, how big are these bees?
Flame can see that they are about 1 inch long. Each one is about 1 inch long. They're pretty big.
How do I do a saving throw?
Okay, under your saving throws box, you're just gonna hit the dexterity one. If it is a proficiency, it's gonna add your proficiency bonus and your dex mod. Otherwise, it'll just be your dex mod.
6.
Ooh, that's not a save.
Nope.
Right.
Flame's gonna start yelling, "Bees, bees, bees!"
A pumpernickel.
Not the bees! Ah! Pumpernickel, bees, bees.
And I have to do a quick thing. Pardon me while I make up some rolls. Okay. You take 4 points of piercing damage as this bee stings you. It hurts like mad. It doesn't seem to have any other effect, but it stings you right on your haunch.
Oh.
And it makes your butt hurt.
Not the haunch.
Yeah, that's my favorite haunch.
Yep. So you'll hear Flame yelling, bees, 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 ow! And roll initiative.
You said I took 4 damage, right?
Yes, 4 piercing damage.
Oh, nat 20.
Yeah, it's a good thing I pull out 10 dice each night because I keep having to retire dice.
Oh dear. Feely, I will have you roll an insight check really quick.
Okay. 11.
Okay. So we have a nat 20 on initiative from Wex. Ooh, good idea, Wex. Let's smoke a bowl. That sounds great. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Weed made from plants. All right, do we have any other 25s to 20s for initiative? What about 19 to 15?
17.
17 for Epiphany. $14 to 10.
12.
A 12 for Finnick.
13 for Kian with a lower dex than Flame.
And I have 13.
Flame.
Sorry, I put the cart before the horse there, but yes.
Thank you. Good job. Perfect. Way to take good care of your GM. Oh, Kato, did you need a hug real bad?
I feel like I should get some sort of bonus when he's around.
I know, right?
Like maybe a bonus on your any charisma based skills.
Definitely a bonus on charisma. I feel like we attract many more YouTube followers with Kato. Look at your face, Kato. God. Buddy.
I think I need a dog like Kato in my life. Pierre, you're gonna go adopt one.
No, thank God for Kato. Okay. Who am I missing?
Me. I rolled a 6.
All are like the dwarves, like the 7 dwarves, but it's like the 6 party members. And I'm like sitting here trying to remember. I can never remember all 6 of you. I always forget one person. It's almost always somebody whose name starts with F. But that's just because 3 of you start with F.
There's like a 50% chance of that.
You did the math.
Top of the round. I'm ready. Wexlarn, what are you doing?
Jesus. I'm not entirely sure at this point. I'm going to.
You could just hear from behind you, bees, 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 wow, bees.
I'm going to shoot an arrow in that general direction because I don't really know what else to do, and I'm terrified.
All right, roll to hit.
17.
Okay, with your 17, you shoot into the swarm randomly. go ahead and roll your damage.
Nine points.
It's hard to tell. You think you hear little as your arrow maybe hits some of them. It seems to definitely disrupt the flow of the swarm, though. You see they kind of split around the arrow and flow in different directions, and then sort of come back together. But it definitely chases them off of flame for the moment, which is awesome. Epiphany, are you going to use any movement or a bonus action, Wix?
I really hate bees. I'll run the other way. My full movement, which is
You're
not.
Going to run up ahead on the trail.
Yeah, away from the bees.
Okay.
They're
all right,
one inch.
running up ahead
That's
on
like
the trail.
Pretty big compared to me.
Oh, for sure. As the forest is getting thicker, the terrain is getting more difficult. Your running is challenging, and I'm going to have you roll a dexterity check to see if you can have your full movement or half your movement.
That's going to be half. It was an 8. So it was like better than the 6s and 7s we've been throwing, but still fails.
All right. Yeah, so you're stumbling, you're running, it's hard, you're tiny, your feet are sinking into the mud a little bit. You're having to jump over fallen logs and vines that are grown across the path. It's definitely hard. You make your way up and you reach, you make your way up past Kian and reach almost up to the beetle by the end of your turn. And Epiphany.
All right. So I'm going to look up at a star and say, don't be scared. This is just part of the adventure. And then use my hand crossbow to hopefully take one of these bees out.
Okay, watching, you had seen how at least Wex's arrow did disrupt the flow of the swarm. And so in an attempt to at least help continue protecting Flame, you fire your hand crossbow. Go ahead and roll a hit. And hand crossbow.
What's that?
It's a light crossbow or it's hand crossbows?
Hand crossbow.
So you can fire 2 of them during the course of a round.
Sweet. So that was a 19 to hit.
That'll hit.
All right, excellent. And so
how many points of damage did you do again, Wex?
What was it, like 9? I think 9.
It was 9. Sorry, I said it, but I was muted.
Thank you.
Do I get to use my attack bonus for this?
Yes.
Dexterity or whatever.
So that is 13 piercing damage.
Oh, for the...
Oh, no, you don't add your attack bonus to damage. You only add your dexterity bonus, but not your proficiency.
Okay. So then it is 3. It's a 11 damage. Math is hard.
Okay. Yeah.
It's great.
Yes, it is. Okay. You fire your 2 hand crossbows into the swarm and you watch it disperse again, this time into more than just a couple of different branches and coming back together. And you see it really disperse and spread out of a cloud and into just more individual bees. It really looks like you damaged their cohesion, at least. Not sure how many you took out because you're at quite a distance. But both of your crossbow bolts definitely went through the swarm and caused some problems. Binnick. Oh, Epiphany, do you have any bonus action or movement that you're doing?
Yeah, I want to high five Astara.
Right here.
Damn.
She gives you that high five. She says, I'm a little scared.
It's the adventure. Pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel! Okay! Finnick.
I'm after Flame and Keith. I have a 12.
Oh, my bad.
I just spoke up before them.
Ah, that's what happened. Okay, Flame.
All right, so Flame will slash at the nearest bee with his rapier, and then probably run away from the bees further up the path, and encourage anyone in front of him to do the same.
Okay. Roll to hit with the rapier. Right,
16.
slicing through the swarm. You definitely hit multiple ones of the bees. Roll your damage.
4.
All right. At this point, they're so dispersed that it's hard to hit more than a couple of them. But you watch as the swarm continues to spread apart. Are you going to do any? Oh, yeah, you said then you're going to run up ahead?
Yep.
Okay. You run, make a dexterity check to see how you do on this terrain.
Four.
Okay. I think normally you get double movement during combat once per turn as a tabaxi, and I'm going to say you do not get that this time. But you still managed to make your way up pretty close to Epiphany with your bounding leaps, your cat-like bounding leaps. Is that your whole turn, Flame?
I'll do Bardic Inspiration on. I can still do a bonus action, right?
Absolutely.
So I'll do Bardic Inspiration. Let's see who's after me on Finnick.
Alrighty, get up on the path near Epiphany and spin around, looking at Finnick, pulling out your loot. And what does this look like? What does this sound like? How do you provide Bardic Inspiration? We haven't seen this before.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't. This is one thing I didn't really prepare a sound clip for. But I imagine since he's like kind of running away, he's gonna do he's gonna spin around and do like a Pete Townsend, like just big chord, like windmill style, and say, "Give him hell, Finnick."
All right, Finnick, you now have what is it, a D4?
I thought it was a D6.
You now have an extra D6 that you can add to an attack roll or an ability check anytime in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, Finnick will be very impressed by this, by the way. Kind of air guitar on his crossbow a little bit.
Great. Kian, however, it's going to be your turn first before that.
For sure. Kian will kind of shake himself out of the speak with animals, decide that can wait for a later time, turn around and actually walk or kind of half jog. He's pretty speedy. He wants to get between the bees and anyone else and cast Produce Flame which will just it's the same thing he cast on the hill that first night we were together. A flickering flame is going to appear in his hand. And he's just going to like hold it out and try to like intimidate the bees from following him further. I'm not throwing.
Okay.
I did not mean to roll an attack roll on the computer, but
Okay, that's all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Roll an intimidation check, however.
okay. I'm not very charismatic. 6.
Okay, you kind of just hold out the flame towards the bees. It doesn't really have the effect that you're looking for. In fact, several of the bees seem to sort of begin to gather near the flame a little bit, not like at it, but like in the light of it where they can sort of see each other, and they start clouding back up together. Do you have any movement or bonus action that you're going to do?
I want to make sure I am between the bees, and I think Feely is the furthest back right now. So I want to be in the very back of our party right now, and I'm just gonna plant myself. And as a bonus action, I'll probably just like grab a handful. I think I can cast a bonus action cantrip. I just can't cast. I know you can't cast 2 spells, even if one is a bonus action, unless one is a cantrip, but I can cast 2 cantrips on my turn, right? I'm still learning the rules.
So, technically, no. Not according to the rules, you cannot.
Okay.
I allow a cantrip as a bonus action after level 3, I believe, as a house rule.
Okay. The casting time for this cantrip is a bonus action, but I've already like cast it.
Oh, in that case, if you have a cantrip that is a bonus action already, then yes, you're totally fine. You can do that as a bonus action. That is a Bree house rule, however, that is not canon. You're technically not allowed to use a bonus action cantrip if you've already used a spell for action. I just think that's bogus.
Okay. Yeah. So I will be holding my flame with one hand, and with the other hand, I'll just roll magic stones again, so that I can throw a magic stone if I feel like it next turn. But yeah, that's.
I love it. Good turn. At this moment, the beetle wheels around in place and starts toward the bees, snapping and groping with her pincers. Beetle skitters toward the swarm that seems to be clouding around Kiana a little bit more, and comes to hold the back part of the party with you. She doesn't unfortunately seem to be doing much damage to the bees, but her presence is very comforting. She seems to have abandoned the idea of snacks for the moment, or maybe she wants to eat the bees, but either way, she's definitely here to help out, that friend spell kicking in or whatever it is. So she takes her place next to you, and although she isn't able to actually take out any of the bees, she's trying. Finnick, it's now your turn.
Yeah, I guess just seeing that the crossbows worked, he'll go ahead and pull out the hand crossbow and take a shot at the biggest swarm he can find.
All right, looking around, roll a perception check and see if you can spot a cloud.
Natural 20.
Oh, critical. All right.
Shit, yeah, that's good timing.
You do. You can actually see with the aid of your enhanced gadget goggles, you can see that just outside of the little halo of light cast by Kian's flame, Not only is there a cloud of bees sort of swirling into that light, but just beyond that light, the rest of the swarm has gathered really basically kind of right over Kian's head. You shoot straight into it, roll to hit. That 13 will hit, just barely. You graze through the edge of that cloud, but it has a rippling effect. Roll your damage. Your bolt scatters so many of these. You hear several of them hit the ground, actually, from where you are with that 25 perception. The cloud disperses, and you can see that even if some attack, it at least won't be the dozens or hundreds in that cloud that you were seeing. You just definitely dispersed that cloud quite a bit and took out a lot of these. Do you have any other things you're going to do on your turn?
Yeah, he'll be like, this might be a job for a magic user. And kind of look around. I can't hold a bonus action, can I? No.
No, not usually. Why? What do you want to do?
Well, because his crossbow expert, I can take 2 shots. So it just automatically reloads.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you can take 2 shots.
Okay.
You want to hold? You want to hold that action?
I was thinking about it. Maybe
What
let
do you want the
someone,
trigger to be?
if the next magic user doesn't kill them. Finnick's not too confident that shooting arrows at a swarm of bees is doing much.
Right, which is valid. Roll a d20 for me. Just a straight up d20.
Real life. 11.
All right, you win. You can do it.
Cool. Yeah, he's just going to hold off.
Hold that bonus action, and if the swarm is not dispersed after somebody magic does some shit, then you can fire another one. At this point, the swarm gathers into a cloud once more, reforming after having been scattered by a crossbow bolt again. They drive down forward, surrounding Kian's head. That's going to be a 19 to hit, Kian. Okay. Stings everywhere, all over you, all over your head, your neck. It's bad. Six piercing damage. It hurts.
Yeah, Kian is pretty beat up, little bloodied. Yeah.
Okay. Fortunately, they didn't get you in the eyes. Your eyes are not swelling shut. You can still see.
It's the little things. Yeah, I'll take it.
They, at that point, coil up and swirl into almost like a whirlwind above you after having just pelted you with their stings over and over, and they begin beelining, as it were, up ahead, past you, past Beetle, and up toward the rest of the party. Feely, it is your turn.
Okay, so are these in between me and like Kian, or?
Let's see. Kian said that he was taking up the far back. So they're coming sort of toward you right now.
Okay.
They've just surrounded. They're flowing past you during their turn. The bees are heading up toward the front of the line.
Okay.
Like kind of around and above you, but more above you than anything else. I suppose you're very tall. Around you.
Very tall. So
Sorry, we're going over time, guys.
I'm good if viewers are.
Yeah, I just want to.
Fine.
Sorry, if you had to drop out at 8 o'clock, we're still here. It'll be there forever on the internet.
So I kind of want to get like as in front of all of them as I can. And if it doesn't seem like I could do that without getting stung to shit, would probably, yeah, okay, yeah. So Ophelia is going to use their bonus action to do the face step again, where they're just swarmed by a bunch of petals, bump up ahead of the bees, but hopefully it like between them and the rest of the party as best I can.
Much as you can, as best you can. They're so fast, you know. But the best that you could do is maybe to try to intervene before they reach Epiphany and Astara.
Okay.
Who are all the way, you know, they were all the way at the front of the line.
So ideally what I want to do is something that's like a 30-foot line with a 5-foot, like, you know, width. And as much as I can avoid my friends as possible would be great.
Okay. Sorry, I got briefly distracted. You're going to avoid your friends using your...
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. I don't, because we haven't hit level 2 yet, I don't have anything that I can like specifically avoid them other than just like positioning myself.
Sure.
So the spell I want to use is a 30-foot line with a 5-foot width. And I want to maybe try and hit as many bees as possible without hitting friends.
Okie doke. No problem. They're pretty high, and so are you.
Okay.
So am I.
Okay. So Ophelia starts drawing like a rectangular glyph sort of this time, in a like kind of a sickly greenish yellow color. And then like coughs towards it almost. And out of the front, there's this like stream of acid that just shoots forward for 30 feet. And the spell is Tasha's Caustic Brew. So the bees will have to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay, they scatter.
The DC is only 13.
They rolled high.
Okay. Then never mind. Nothing happens.
No damage on a save?
No.
Okay, it's coming to 8:15. That was a great turn, Feely. Are you going to do a bonus action or any? I guess you bonus action face stepped.
Yep.
And are you going to do any movement?
Can I run away without being like stung?
You can use your movement to move. Yeah, you can use your movement. It won't provoke an opportunity attack.
Then yeah, the full 30 feet, I'll just head up the path.
Okay, you head up the path. You get all the way up to where Epiphany and Astara are. We will begin with the top of the round next week.
Nice.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
Thank you all for hanging a little bit late. Y'all can support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/themythologue. Subscribe at any tier, $3 plus for patron-only content and added benefits. Otherwise, we just really appreciate the support that you give by being here with us on your Monday nights. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye,